Yes, ma'am. Do I have eggs? Yes.
See, that's Saluda for you. That is Saluda for you. That's our past postmaster.
That's Miss Sandy.
And this is Robert Pace.
Yeah, that's who it is.
And his father started the store. And what was his name?
His name was M.A. Pace.
M.A. Pace.
Yeah, some people called him Mac.
Oh yeah, Mac
In
Pace.
1899.
And things haven't, this building hasn't changed hardly at all.
Hasn't changed very much.
Just the merchandise.
Just the people have changed.
I was about to say that, but I didn't.
Did you look bro?
I've been feeling good, and I still knock off things on the piano.
Do you?
Check out this cash register.
Is that how farm?
It's a nice, not big, lovely passion. My husband bought me this brand again.
Oh, that's true.
Sell our home. I got this. That's the best man that not, of course, not, I don't know about you, but he is absolutely, I don't know.
Hello everyone, this is John Ward of the Appalachian Channel, and I'm in Saluda, North Carolina, and I'm outside the M.A. Pace General Store, and I'm here today with some special friends of mine. I'm here with Cindy Tuttle, and tell us the organization name.
I'm with the Historic Saluda Committee. We're a committee under the city of Saluda.
Okay, and then this is Tangi Morgan, and you're the mayor also, but
I am.
You own the general
Hardware store.
The
Yep.
hardware store.
Hardware and general merchandise store.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit yesterday, and we're back today to make the video. We're going to go inside, and these ladies are going to tell us the history of the store, and then on another video, they're going to tell us the history of the town, so make sure to look for that video too. So y'all ready to go inside? Let's
go. Come on
Let's
in.
go.
This store was started in the 1890s. It was started by Mac Alexander Pace, M.A. Pace. His kids ran it up till about I guess what, 10, 15 years ago, when Robert Pace, the last remaining son, passed away, and then me and my daddy took it over. I find it a treasure to work every day. It's a blessing to me to work in a town that I grew up in. These are some of the products we have here at the store. We have hanging baskets just in time for Mother's Day. We got vegetable plants. We try to keep a lot of our stuff local. We have some of the best tasting tomatoes. That's a big old tomato. Be good for a BLT or a big old burger, whichever, or tomato pie. We got the best tomato pie up at Green River Barbecue. So if you haven't stopped there, stop off and get you some tomato pie. Got fresh corn, we got squash, zucchini, some cantaloupes. Got some good old strawberries. Make you a strawberry pie. Just in time almost for Memorial Weekend. Peaches. We got rugs. These are handmade rugs we've been buying from this little fella for about 30 years. They're machine washable and everybody loves them. Got bee traps, carpenter bee traps. You know that's the time of year where you need a bee trap. So we come on in and we'll check out the store. Come on in the store. We'll show you around. We have some the old ad machines. We've got kind of it's a really the store is like a museum. We have the old stampers that they used to stamp. That was the pricing stampers, and you put them in ink and push down on it to mark it. These pictures that one picture's got my 3 great granddaddies in it, and then this picture over here is of my daddy. He's the little sailor boy, and he worked in the store up until 2022 when he passed away. And then the picture down below's got my great granddaddy, and he's the one that worked in the store with MA. A lot of the historical stuff is items up top that they actually used to sell, like the shoes and the collars, the men's collars. There's a feather duster over there. It's really unusual looking. I mean, people are amazed when they walk through this store. It's like a time capsule because it's things that you don't see anymore that have, it's just amazing. A lot of local jams and jellies. We get them from a nice little family I never know what she's going to bring me because she makes everything fresh. So it's kind of like we'll run out of stuff and everybody's like, okay, I need that now. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but she ain't got it made up because it's not, it's not in season, or she hadn't had time to make it because, but we've also got a lot of history in this building. Like I said, the Coke cooler, this Coke cooler, actually the two general stores started out together and they parted ways in 1927. But this one, when the store up the street had transferred ownership, Mr. Jackson put a lot of things up for sale, and me and my daddy went in as partners and actually bought this one from them, and because I didn't want it to leave Saluda, because we want to keep our artifacts here in town. The old scale was it's got a date on it of 1901, and we still have it certified about every year, and it weighs up to an ounce. And then we have we always carry like glass bottle drinks. We try to keep a lot of the unusual stuff. We have RC colas, and then you can get you a moon pie, you get your Pepsi, you get you a glass bottle Coke to go along with that. Now if you come in here, I might have to card you if you buy these candy cigarettes. Make sure you're old enough, okay? But we have like the wax bottle. You remember going and getting these?
Yes.
The wax bottles, you know how that was? You bite off the top, thought you really had something, drink them, and then away you went, and you were like chewing on the wax for a little while. I'm like, why am I chewing on wax, right? Hate to say that. Or you get you a candy. You remember Cindy getting these candy necklaces, and you thought,
yeah.
oh boy, I'll do good with that. And you gnaw on them for a while, and it gets your neck kind of.
Yes, I do remember that.
You remember days.
I do, yeah.
Actually, this is my cousin Cindy, as we talked about before, and her aunt. Is that right?
My great aunt was married to M.A. Pace.
And that was Peter Geist Bridge, if you know that, on 26.
Her name, my great aunt's name was Minnie Geist Pace, and she was from the Geist family, and as her grandfather was Peter Geist, and that a lot of people around here know about the Peter Geist Memorial Bridge. It's over the Green River on I-26, so that's our family.
Okay, so you come here as a kid too, then?
I did come here as a kid, yes. As far back as I can remember. I didn't grow up in Saluda. My dad did, but I came here in the summers and weekends and holidays. And now I do live here part-time, and I can't wait to live here full-time someday. So Saluda is near and dear to my heart. And we always came here because we were related to the M.A. Pace family. And the Pace sons were my grandfather's first cousins, so we always came in here and hung out with them, and I used to play with Robert Pace's daughter, and so anyway, it's all family. And like Tangi said, we are cousins, and we go back to the original Geist. I mean, I'm sorry, the Pace
Pace.
family, and probably Geist family.
Probably,
I think
we're kin to the
on the
Geistes.
Geist side
I'm
too.
pretty sure we're double cousins.
Yeah,
Not
probably
in a
more.
bad way though.
Probably if you look really
One's
deep.
from my papa's side, and one's from my mama's
Yeah,
side. Not
yeah.
in a bad way. We got to specify that.
That's right. That's right. But the original Pace that came to Saluda is, let's see, where's that picture?
It's
here.
right over here.
Right here. This is his grave marker. His name was Burl Pope Pace, and that grave marker is dated 1816, and that is our mutual ancestor. And a lot of the Saluda Paces, which there's a lot of them, descended from him.
And then we also have a lot of celebrities that came through town a lot of times. This is Pat Hingle. He was Doc on Gunsmoke, Commissioner Gordon on Batman, and his granddaddy raised him here in Saluda. And he was actually the reason Patterson Street's named Patterson Street is because they were Pattersons, and his granddaddy worked on the railroad. So a lot of people may not know the name, but they definitely know his face. And then we've had Perry Como had a house here back in the 80s, and I can remember the days of not knowing who he was, and he would walk by Mom and Daddy's house, and I'd be like, who is that man with that weird fishing hat? Because at that time you didn't see anybody with weird, little fishing hat with tackle on it. And but he was a super fine fella. He lived out on Frost Road, and a lot of times next door we had a Western Auto store, and he'd go down there and pump people's gas, and they'd never knowed it was him. But he actually gave us that gold, it's kind of like a gold record up top. And he actually sent, I think it was Boo, he sent some flowers. And if you zoom in, maybe you might get the little card and it'll say from Perry Como. So we've had a lot of celebrities. Actually, while you're here, we'll go ahead and, this is a picture that Doug and Julie Williams off Days of Our Lives. They have a summer house here. He recently passed away, unfortunately, but he was good friends with my daddy, and they'd come every summer and they'd eat ice cream with us. And we'd never tell anybody this here till they's gone, because, they wanted to have a vacation just like everybody else did. So we always kind of respected that. But my daddy actually cut his grass when he was a kid. And I remember the days that, they would come in and he'd sit behind the counter and people walking right past and never know he was sitting there even. And then I'd post it on, Facebook or something, and everybody'd be mad because they didn't get to come meet him. But I wasn't going to, I just didn't want to disrespect them by, they wanted a vacation too. So do you want to tell them about Dr. George Jones? He was,
Yes, Dr. George Jones, he's standing beside the Burl Pope Pace gravestone. He's also naturally a cousin. And is that Horace Pace the standing?
It is.
That's
It's
Horace Pace.
It definitely is.
Horace Pace
Yep.
passed away a few years ago, and he's standing there, and he's also a descendant of Burl Pope Pace. So Dr. George Jones is one of my mentors, helped me get our Historic Saluda committee work going, and has shared a lot of information with me over the years and helped me track my ancestry. He passed away, can't remember, it's probably been 3, 4, 5 years now.
Yeah, it's been probably about
but he
5
was a
now.
historian. He grew up in Saluda, and most everybody around here that's a local knows who he was. But this is him actually. This is an interesting story. That's Dr. Jones standing next to William Morris, Billy Morris. And this is a legend. It's not a legend, it's true. It's definitely true.
yeah.
But Billy Morris, his family actually brought a fire from overseas. From when they came to Saluda as settlers, they brought this fire. And they kept the fire burning in that log cabin right there for 164 years. It was such a legendary story. He actually went to New York and was interviewed for, do you remember what show it was?
It seems like it was a radio show.
Show.
It was a radio show.
Remember the name of it, but he was interviewed, and when he was in New York, he had a dog.
He did?
He had a dog. It's not in the picture, but when he was gone, story goes the dog passed away. He grieved so bad for Billy Morris, his owner.
It was Booker was his
Booker,
dog.
right.
Booker T was, I think that was because it says right up top. I think it was Booker.
Okay, and then Billy Morris was a fine fiddle player. He played the old Appalachian music, and he was known for that. And so he's just really a legend around here that a lot of people like to hear his stories. And unfortunately, that cabin is no longer standing, but his story lives on.
So they kept the fire going through the summertime too?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
They would somehow bank it, or what do you call it when you bank a fire? You kind of smother it, but you got to tend it.
Yeah.
When he died, the family didn't keep the fire going.
Yeah.
So the fire went out.
Hey, we're here at M.A. Pace General Store. I'm Tangi Morgan. I'm actually the mayor of the town. And this is Mr. Cary Pace. He's a good friend of ours. Him and my daddy was in Vietnam, and they saw each other. They went from Saluda, North Carolina to Saigon. Met on the streets of Saigon, didn't you, Cary?
Yep.
Yep. You want to talk a little bit about how Saluda, good old days when you was a little boy? And how you used to, he's a great woodworker. You want to talk about your woodworking? He's got a little woodworking shop, don't you, Cary?
Yeah.
He was always active in the Boy Scouts. You want to talk a little bit?
25 years of scouting.
25 years.
Yeah. In this town. But
Your daddy owned an apple orchard?
my dad got the Pace's Southside Orchard, and he had it for several years, and then he let his brother take over. And well, actually I was the fourth generation in the apples, but it's like everything else. Time has gotten rid of makes it hard to raise them, weather and everything else.
So how old was you when you came to Saluda?
Pardon?
Was you born here
Yeah, a long time ago.
a long time ago? So you remember the store back when you was a kid?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, to tell the truth, when I was 16, I painted that Vogue baby beauty shop up there.
Oh, did you?
I wasn't even that old at that time.
This right here?
Yeah,
How about that? You painted that when you were 16?
or earlier, I can't remember exactly.
So you must enjoyed painting and drawing, I guess, then.
Yeah, I did all the artwork for the school at that time.
Yeah.
And even today, I still do I've got 60-some years of carving.
Carving.
Yep.
Tell him about the state fair. He goes to the state fair every year too, don't you?
I did.
Up until you wasn't able to.
Yeah.
Here recently.
I was in the village of yesteryear.
What type of stuff do you carve mainly?
Well, I carve anything and everything.
Okay.
And when I say that, I carve trains and put them in bottles, my insulin bottles.
Oh my goodness.
And I do a lot of cooking utensils, spoons and spatulas. I do a lot of life-size fish, big ones. And I do thousands of pairs of earrings every year. And
So you sell this stuff, I guess. If you're making that many of them, are you selling it somewhere? Do you sell it?
I've got a shop over at the BP station.
Okay.
And it's crammed full. I do so many things it ain't funny. I've been lucky on my carvings. But the funny thing is, the first time I ever sold anything public-wise was here in that alley right there during the Coon Dog parade. And I wished I had a nickel for every Coon Dog I've carved since then. So, it's just...
Tell us about your stars you got there on your hat. Just talk about your
I earned 2 Bronze Stars in Vietnam.
Yeah, well, thank you for your service.
Well, thanks, sir. I had it to do again, I'd do it again. I was in the Navy, never on a ship.
How about that?
But the better part is I was in the Navy, never been drunk because I never drank.
Hey, that Captain Charles Pearson, he would be my great uncle. My papa's sister married him, and he was a civil engineer on the railroad, of course. And up top, you talked to Mr. Cary Pace earlier. That's actually Avery Pace, which would be his daddy, and that's got a label of Ken and Avery Pace's orchard. It was called Southside for years and years, and we used to carry his products in the store. Hey, this is actually one of the original grocery carts that was used in the store, and it was actually used probably in the 20s. I put it up top because the wheels were so, fragile. It was, I just needed to protect it a little bit. But can you imagine getting your groceries in that? You wasn't buying too much back in, was you? Compared to the size of them nowadays. This is an old scale they used to weigh stuff on. And then, of course, you got your coffee grinder. This was actually used for beans. They stored stuff up top. And then they'd get you some beans. There's actually a scoop that pulls out, and you'd sit there and catch your beans. That's an old coffee grinder, too.
Now, did they use that in the store maybe?
Mm-hmm.
They
yeah.
did?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How about that?
But let's see, I was trying to think. Oh, you want to take a look at the register? We got one of the oldest registers around. This one was actually put in here in 1914, and it actually still works. And I've always heard that, Daddy always told me that up here was always used for they'd put like a nickel or a quarter on there to see if it was real silver, is what I've always heard all my life. We don't really use it too much anymore because, of course, you see it don't go up too much. I guess that's inflation, right, for us. But they used to use it for all the time, but we don't use it too much. We use it for storage mostly, but still works like a charm. And then inside here, I don't know if y'all remember the green stamps. That's some green stamps from years ago. And if you kind of look up top, that actual sign up there used to hang outside the store, and we actually gave out green stamps. And I never will forget the first spanking I ever got in school was I was telling my friend Cheryl about going to the green stamp store in Hendersonville. My mom and daddy had bought a pole lamp, and I got my first spanking in school for talking, believe it or not. So I have a good lesson on green stamps. So.
Was you excited about them getting that lamp?
Oh, I was like, it's the old-fashioned one that turns and all, and I was so excited I just couldn't help myself, couldn't contain myself. But we still have the old coolers in here where you pull out the bottles, like the old-fashioned bottles. This thing still works. You can still get you a glass Sprite or a Coke, either one. I always thought as a kid that it was going to eat my arm, though. Because you reach in there and you're little bitty, you're just like, it's going to take my arm off. But we got tons of history in here, as you can see. We had a baby hospital here in town. It's across the street. We'll probably touch on that later on. We had the phone company was Saluda Mountain Telephone Company, and that's some of the phones we've used over the years. Can you imagine that? Using those phones. That's a picture of the fire department too. That was in front of City Hall. There's tons of history though. It really is a treasure.
And my grandmother is in this picture right there, the group of ladies. She's in that. I think that was a women's club.
It was.
Up there.
Mm-hmm.
And then my great aunt was city clerk, and she's in the picture there with you can see the police chief and so forth. So when I come in here, it feels like I'm coming back and revisiting my family and good memories, and it feels kind of like coming home to come in here and see all these good memories. So I appreciate the fact that the Morgans have carried on this tradition that the Paces have done so long.
That's another picture. They used to have square dances at school at the gym, and actually that picture in the middle is of my daddy. He's on the Hall of Fame, and he was on city council for 16 years here. And that's some old baseball uniform. That's Hop Foster's baseball uniform, and a couple of the cheerleading outfits, and it's my sister's and Edith Harris. So it's amazing. And
So
we
you have
carry,
a lot of just general merchandise.
we
don't you?
do. We carry. I mean, if you want to come in and get a jar of mayonnaise or a loaf of bread, or I mean, we try to keep. You know, if you need a toothbrush, if you come into town, or you need your oil lamp, we try to keep a lot of old-fashioned stuff like the oil lamps, wicks. We try to keep different sizes of those because a lot of stuff you don't see anymore, like the Home Sweet Home lamps. We carry Lodge cookware. We carry locally made pottery. I mean, you know, you can't get a lot of stuff like this anymore, you know. And boy, you're glad to get it if the power goes out. Even though some people nowadays have generators, but you still need them on occasion. We carry canning supplies. We carry grills, toys, of course. We carry, you know, we carry tons of different unusual stuff. We try to keep stuff unusual, things that you don't see no more, you know.
So this on the left side was more groceries, I
It
guess.
was.
Then on the
It
right
was.
side was
Hardware.
hardware.
And we can walk over here.
Okay.
We sell pocket knives.
So you got drill bits and
We
jigsaw
do.
blades right here.
We do. Light bulbs. We carry. It's actually a general store, just like we used to carry clothing and boots and shoes. And we'll show you over here the shoes. We sell garden stuff. This is some locally made knives. They're hand done. He always makes little leather sheets for it and all. And here's another old scale. We used to we sell, now this is something that you don't see a lot of. These are cut nails, of course. They used them a lot of times in floors. But we'd always, you know, you have your paper bags hanging up here and get you some nails and we'll weigh them, and, you know, you can buy a few or as many as you want, right? But cut nails, you just don't see them anymore. And actually, you know, if you go to Lowe's, you got to buy a big old box. But we try to keep the big boxes. So if you just need a few, I mean, we got chainsaw fluid, fishing poles. We carry worms even.
And I
We
will
sure
say that the locals really do depend on this hardware section. We're always running in here looking for something, and it's amazing what you can find. And I guess you're the only hardware store
Yeah.
in town, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
we depend on it.
Yeah, yeah, and we try to keep, like, you know, like you're in a camper, and we carry RV antifreeze, and we carry like the adapters for the tanks for your propane tanks, and fishing line, and you know, you can even get you a nice hat if you want a hat. You know, we try to carry, you know, if you have a need, we try to keep with the community, and we kind of, if somebody asks for something, we try to get it. So
You'll have this
we do. This has been in here forever. As you can see, it's kind of burned out after the years. It was actually a coal burning stove, though, was what it was. And they used to have a coal yard behind the building, and they actually sold coal at one time. But it's
store sold coal?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they had out back, they'd have a big pile of it. And actually, you can still go back there and see parts of it, because a lot of times the school kids will come in and I'll do like a little history tour, and I'll always give them a little piece of coal, because my gosh, you don't ever see that anymore. And they'll be like, oh gosh, you know, because you just don't see it anymore. So, oh, here's some old pictures. Actually, I can tell you a little story about my great-grandma right here. This is, this is Selena Middleton, and that was my great-grandmother. And she actually wrote a song about a murdered brother, and she was put in James Giles' book. So, see, if you even want a piece of, if you want to fix your lamp, you can come in and fix your lamp, or you need to lock somebody out with a chain, right?
We've bought that chain, some chain before.
Out, or if your toilet
I'd like to
stops up-
point this out, if I
Yeah,
may.
well, sure.
My great-grandfather was a photographer during the days of early Saluda. His name was O.B. Guerin, and he took the majority of these photographs right here. He had a photography studio that sat where the post office is today. So this is really an excellent way to display the origins of early Saluda. Saluda was founded as a town in 1881, shortly after the railroad came up the grade in 1878. So it's really nice to have a museum within this store, and you can see this kind of thing. So I'm glad they've got this here.
Is this a desk that y'all used for the store?
Oh
too?
yeah, it's a C-roll, and this was actually M.A.'s desk. And then Robert used it in later years. Robert actually sold insurance.
And the store here?
Oh yeah.
And there's a beauty parlor
Yeah.
still here.
There is. It
Still
is.
intact upstairs
It
at
sure is.
one of the Pace sisters. I don't remember which one, but it's called Vogue. It was a Vogue beauty parlor, and I think the sign is
It
still on the
is.
door.
It is. It's still
And it
up
was
there.
upstairs, and the ladies would come get their hair done. And I've heard stories about hooking their hair up to these electric curlers.
That
and how you
machine's
could
still up there.
sma-
That machine's still
Okay,
up
we
there.
need to talk her in
And
for
it
you
had
coming back.
a
seeing the-
cylinder. There's actually a cylinder, like a cylinder water tank up there. But it looks like, you've just walked out and left it. It's got all the products still, sitting, and it's really neat.
Well, someday
It's
you
real
need to
neat.
take us up there.
I know. We'll have to do that sometime. Maybe when the sidewalk gets straightened out, we can get to it. Well, if you walk on down here, of course, we have fishing supplies. We have camping stuff. We have even school stuff. That's a picture of my daddy and my sister, and my little niece Cynthia. But if you need pad of paper, if you want to play cards, we got cards. So it really is like a general store. If you want to paint you a picture while you're moving along, but we have anything from saw blades to screwdrivers, drop cords, electrical tape, regular tape. A lot of those shoes up top were original to the store. So that's like we've got shoes from the 20s, shoes from the 1800s up top. Probably the most unusual thing we have in here is, if you can see it, is see where it says B's, D's. That is a poultry powder, which is a poultry laxative. And I don't know how you'd ever know if your chicken ever needed a laxative, but we used to carry that years ago. So, still got the old scale. This was actually a feed scale. A lot of people come in and play checkers. It was amazing how many people sit back there either at the wood stove or sit right here, and a lot of problems are solved over a game of checkers, I tell you. Here's one of the other registers. I think this was probably actually the original register, because this one's a little bit smaller, and I know at one time they only had one side for a while open. An old paper cutter. And then if you look up top, there's a they would tie your package up with that string. They used to sell notions. They used to sell fabric, ribbon, buttons, thread.
Tell me notions. I've asked this before. What all do you include in the word notions?
Oh Lord, I have no idea. I'm assuming, like, I would think anything you'd put together a dress with, don't you? I would say thread and ribbon, buttons.
Okay.
That's what I would think.
You see that sometimes on some of the old stores. They'll say general merchandise or notions on there.
I'm assuming it was anything that you like, patches. We even still carry patches over there. We even sell. I sold this past week, which was kind of odd because you don't ever have anybody ask for Velcro, and the hook and I can't even
Hook and eye.
Hook and eye. There you go. Hook and eye. Oh, we even carry bug spray, rat traps. You can get a pot to put a plant in or anything.
Stovepipe.
Stovepipe, yeah, we can fix your stovepipe. Now, a lot of these cutting boards, our local guy here in town makes the cutting boards for us. And then a lot of the wood carving is made by Bernard Edwards. He's out of Tryon. He's a real nice fella, and I've known him for years. He always does the Coon Dog Day trophies for me. We hadn't even mentioned about that, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
We'll talk about that in closing.
We'll talk about that in a minute, but we sell ice cream. We sell tons of ice cream. We have do root beer floats, milkshakes. We do sundaes in the summer. We do, that picture right there is my mom and daddy, and that was taken back in, I think it was 1967. That was when my daddy was on leave from Vietnam. A lot of the pictures up top are history of, you know, of course we're a big railroad town. I know you've talked about that before, but you know, a lot of that, actually that top picture up top is got my great granddaddy in it, and that was George Washington Metcalf. But that was a lot of the town's history, because people would come up here in the summer from South Carolina to get away from the heat, and they still do to this day. Most of the summer traffic that we get is going to be, you know, people coming to get out of the heat, to get away. We have a lot of
We call that low country. Low country traffic.
Yep, low country.
So you call this high country where you're at here in Saluda, or is this a higher elevation, I'm sure?
Well-
It's what is it, 2200?
2,200
100 feet.
The Eastern Continental Divide is just
is-
up the road about 5 miles. Yeah.
When you leave South Carolina and you start heading up the mountain, you top what we call the grade. That's where Saluda sits, right at the top of the grade. It's the first mountain community you come to once you top that grade. And it's kind of a gateway into these mountains here.
Yeah.
And of course, the further you go west, the higher the elevation.
Now, I don't know if you saw it or not, but a lot of this stuff that they used to sell too, like the black flag. And then there's tie tags, which men don't wear ties much anymore, but once a week maybe. But you know, used to people would dress up, and now they don't do so much. That's a tobacco cutter in there, cigar cutter. We carry hoop cheese. We carry grits, stone ground grits. I was trying to think of everything we carry. We carry a lot.
You carry everything.
We carry a
Tangi.
lot of stuff. I know, we carry a lot. But I was trying to think of some of the older stuff that we carry that.
Well,
you know,
up until
was
recent
really-
years, I mean, it was up to you, this store and Thompson's store, to carry everything
Oh, yeah.
that the community needed.
Yeah.
And we only now have a Dollar General, but of course that's not anything like this.
Right.
So these stores were vital
Oh, yeah.
for the folks to sustain themselves.
I like this. I like this sign right here.
Yeah, they used to sell shoes and clothing, paint, hardware, pointer overhauls.
I'll walk back through here and look
Okay.
through this stuff. I like to see the general merchandise.
Yeah. You can get you some hinges or whatever you want back there. Sandpaper, steel wool. See, if you're falling apart, you can just get you some super glue.
Do you have people ask to buy the old shoes?
All the time.
Yeah?
All the time, but we don't sell any of the old stuff anymore.
Well, hold on to it, huh?
Yeah, well, you know, you can't get it back. You know, and then the money's going to be gone, and what have you got? And if you ain't got your history, you've lost it all. You know, we have people come in all the time, oh, I just want to buy that Coke button up there, and I'm like, well, you know what? You know, it's been here all my life, and I can't turn it loose. And they'll say, oh, everything's got a price. I'm like, no, sometimes everything don't have a price. You know how it is?
We need to quote our mayor as saying, if you don't have your history, you don't have.
You don't have anything. You don't have anything.
So that's really what the Historic Saluda Committee is all about, and why we feel it's so important. And we work so hard to preserve that history. We work closely with everyone to do that. And
I mean, I'm the luckiest person in town. I get to work in here, see people I love. I mean, this is a dream job to me. I mean, you know, it's a lot of work, but it's a dream job. I'm pretty lucky. I'm blessed. The biggest day out of the year, of course, is Coon Dog Day, and it was started in 1963. And every year we have it. We have a 5K race. It's arts, crafts, music, street dance, parade, a little bit of everything. Cindy, you want to tell them about how it started and all?
Right. The Coon Dog Day actually started through the Blue Ridge Coon Club, and they were obviously big raccoon hunters, and so they would do a fundraiser every year, and they would have a chicken dinner, and that's what these ladies are partaking of right here. They're eating their chicken, and they're cooking chicken there.
But that was the street dance too. They always had
Has this big old square dance.
Square dance, and they still have it.
But the Blue Ridge Coon Club this was their fundraiser, and the reason is they had completely eliminated the entire raccoon population in Saluda, and the coon hunters had to find a way to replenish that population. So they would travel to Florida every year and buy raccoons and bring them back up here to repopulate the area, so then they could turn around and hunt them. And so that they one year there was a year they added a parade to their event. And it was so popular that Coon Dog Day was born from that, and it's taken off and exploded. It's huge. How many people did you say usually?
They say 10 to 20,000 people, but that's throughout the whole day. So these are our shirts from last year. This has got my little daddy on it. That was the first year he had passed away, so we was trying to pay tribute to him. But yeah, it's kind of like a homecoming. You see people you hadn't seen in years.
The whole week is a homecoming.
Oh, it is. It definitely is, because people plan their whole year around Coon Dog Day.
We do.
It's July 6th this year. It's always the first Saturday after the 4th of July, but
it's a party the whole week.
It's AKC sanctioned dog show, trend contest. You can even, if we have dog rescue groups. So if you want to get you a coon dog, you can get you a coon dog. I actually have a black and tan myself, and he was a rescue. So who knew I'd end up with that?
The whole day, this town sounds like coon dogs baying the entire day, from early morning, or I guess the night before, because they bring them in the night before, and the whole town is that baying of coon dogs and all kinds of different breeds of coon dogs.
Yeah.
It's an event.
Actually, our state dog is a coonhound. It's a
plot. There's plenty of plot hounds here.
Talking about that, and they have seminars.
They have a dog show right up there at the park.
They're moving it
Are they
back.
moving it?
They're moving it back this year. It'll be down at the ball field.
Oh, okay.
They wanted to spread out and let people. They're going to have some meet and greet tents. They're going to have some kids activities.
I liked it better when it was down there. That's good.
Did too.
Yeah.
So I think they need to. They're going to expand it, and it'll be a good thing. But we have, it'll be like kind of like a fair, kind of like there'll be like street food and a little bit.
And it's no longer managed by the Blue Ridge Coon Club, to go on the record. It's actually is it the city?
The city
of Saluda sponsors it.
And then the dog show is put on by
is it AKC?
the AKC.
It's AKC
out
sponsored.
of Orangeburg, South Carolina. The ones that do the one in Orangeburg. So it's fun though. It's neat just to go down there and stand there and watch how the dogs do and all. It's amazing.
So
But
tell
it's
us about this proclamation you're talking about.
Oh,
about
yeah.
how long the store's been
Okay.
here.
The store has been, well, the state says 100 years, and we'll be celebrating our 125th this year. So hopefully we'll do something big for that, and I'll have to include Cindy on that, and we'll have to do it something big. As Pace Society's coming. Did we mention the Pace Society's coming in June?
Right, the Pace Society of America, which is a pretty big organization, they're having their reunion in Hendersonville this year, and they're going to spend the day in Saluda on June 7th.
So
Tangi and I are going to be welcoming them to Saluda here at the store. They love to come here, obviously, because they're Paces, and this is MA Pace store. So it's a big day, and they love to hear about the history, and so it's an annual reunion and celebration.
So let me ask you a question about, was the store, the building was built in 1899? Was that when the store was opened?
No, actually, they originally started out in the City Hall building.
Okay.
And it was on the side that now is the police department side. And they actually started out as Thompson and Pace Company. And then they moved into this building in 1914. And then they parted ways in 1927. So that's...
The business started in 1899.
Yeah, I mean, some records say 1890, Others say 1899, so they go on 1899.
So, how about the building? You know, was it built in
This was built in 1914. This
building was
building,
built in 19. Okay,
yes,
I got
but
you.
City Hall was built before that.
But they built two buildings just
Well, no, I think they actually, I have never heard or don't really know the answer to that. I think that they must have rented that one to begin with, is what I'm assuming.
Well,
Because
when
I
Thompson's
know
moved, though,
M.A. Pace built this building.
the Thompson's building's identical to this one.
Right.
They're twin buildings. Mhm.
Yeah.
So when they separated, did they build two identical buildings, or that's too far back?
That's
ain't
Well,
it?
you know what? That's a good question, and that's something I've researched.
That's too far back for
And
me.
we can't quite find the answer to that.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, but I'm still digging to try to find out. We've got pictures that hopefully you can share of when this was a dirt street, and you can see the new, when they had just built these buildings.
And there was like no awning on it, and then
Yeah,
there
just
was,
bare front.
There was actually troughs outside, water troughs, where the horses could come up.
I always thought they were like the cabinets back here.
No,
Are they water
I've
troughs?
always heard they were
Oh, okay,
water
we're-
troughs. That's what that's what I've always heard. that
Okay, they may
And
be.
then I always heard that there was a next door to here. I've always heard that there was like a livery stable, and that
I've
they
heard
would
that
store
too.
horses next door. And then later on, they built like, I know that next door used to be like a Nash car dealership. I've heard all kind of tales.
Western
there.
Auto was there.
Western Auto was there
Yeah.
during my lifetime. They had gas pumps out in front of it.
Yeah, I
so,
remember that too.
Yeah, so.
Well, ladies, that was a lot of history there. This building's just packed full of pictures and memorabilia from the years past, you know, old cash registers and all of that. So people can come in and walk around and spend a few hours just looking at stuff and enjoying the sights. But we got another video to make, so be looking for the video about Saluda itself. We're going to go with the mayor here, and we're going to walk down the street and talk about some of the buildings.
We're going to take a stroll.
Take a stroll, and in that video we'll show you some of the other businesses and some of the things you can do when you come and visit here. But one of the things you're going to want to do is come here to M.A. Pace.
Come on in.
Talk to Tangi. She's going to be here most days. What days are y'all open and closed?
Oh my goodness, we're open 7 days a week.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yeah, we usually open, well, depends on if we're running late or not, unfortunately. You know how it is. Usually we're here about 9 in the morning till about 6 of the evening. And in the summer we're open longer. And then on Sunday we don't open till after church.
Okay.
So usually, like, just depends on that too, 12:31. Just depends on how long that takes.
Well,
But
you
come see us.
Come by and visit Tangi and get your picture made with her, and tell her that you saw it on the Appalachian Channel. And we'll see you on the next video, guys. Bye-bye.
Come see us.